My name is Stephen Abercrombie, postgraduate secondary teaching student at the University of Western Sydney, and today I'll be presenting to you a post that I created which references the sociological theory of Marxism and its impact upon secondary school students. The purpose of this video is to raise awareness of inequalities and power imbalances that children face in regards to accessing valuable education. The poster I've created aims to empower and encourage students who are considered to be disadvantaged. As this culturally responsive message is directed towards predominantly youth, I've decided to keep my message clear, concise, and visually appealing in order to capture my target's attention. So first of all, what is Marxism? Marxism theory was made famous by sociologists including Karl Marx, Louis Althusser, and Rodolfo Torres. This theory attempts to explain inequalities amongst socio-economic classes and identifies conflict that arises as a result of these inequalities. It suggests a society ruled by dominant discourse and states that capitalism is a fundamental stepping stone for the progression of society. Marxists believe that class is the sole identifier of power and that factors such as culture, gender, and individual abilities are less significant. This perspective ultimately divides society into two distinct categories: the wealthy, who own and control resources fundamental for production, and the poor, who sell their personal labour. This is merely a social stratification that creates social hierarchy. So how does Marxism apply to secondary school students? It is important to identify the world we live in, although encouraging students to understand society as a socio-economic pecking order, placing the wealthy at the top, is toxic and will only teach children to discriminate against one another from an early age and lead to oppression of the lower classes. This is why we must defy the dominant discourse of understanding society through this framework and teach children to respect and encourage one another based on individual characteristics outside of class. By defying dominant discourse, we teach children to think for themselves, think creatively, and ask questions, as opposed to accepting the world as it is, because this is ultimately what makes a great student. This encourages children to thrive and reach their greatest potential regardless of the class in which they are categorised. So what can be done to change these inequalities? According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, approximately 20% of the New South Wales population are considered to be severely disadvantaged in regards to unemployment, minute qualifications, and in some instances, criminal convictions. Some of the greatest misconceptions regarding the disadvantaged is that the poor are indolent, unproductive, drug abusers, and uneducated, although this is not the case, and certainly not the message we wish to convey to school students. I want students to understand that disadvantaged individuals are in fact capable of achieving their goals and aspirations. They are intelligent, motivated, productive, diligent, and valued members of our society. We are all worthy regardless of social stratifications, and each and every Australian deserves a fair go. The question is, who and what is to blame for these inequalities and power imbalances in terms of education? Of course, if a student has the drive to learn, they will do so, although there are several factors that may hinder a student's success, such as stresses associated with growing up in a disadvantaged neighbourhood, family and domestic violence, lack of educational resources, private privilege versus underfinanced public education, poor support systems and lack of encouragement at home, absence of transport to attend school, bullying and harassment in school resulting in diminished mental health, and the mentality that a student's socioeconomic class dictates their future. There is more to education than producing labour. It provokes thought, creates identity, solidifies our social skills, and develops our emotional intelligence. Australia is full of diverse individuals with respect to culture, race, ethnicity, gender, age, and social class. These differences do not define our socio-economic status, nor our worth in any other aspect in life. With exceptional teachers, empowering mentors, and sufficient government funding throughout New South Wales, we can work towards overcoming or at least ease some of the stresses that disadvantaged students experience across the state. Above all else, we can provide an abundance of essential resources in order to succeed, although individual motivation to learn and defiance of dominant discourse all starts with you. In conclusion, what message do we wish to teach? To defy the dominant discourse, all Australians deserve equal respect and a fair go. An individual's worth is greater than the monetary value they possess. Do not discriminate against one another based on social class. Even the disadvantaged are capable of achieving their goals and aspirations with a motivated and resilient mindset. Private education and being born into wealth does not always guarantee success. And finally, our ancestors' socioeconomic status does not dictate our future.